Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Beavertown in London after a very long absence. In fact, it's been about 2 years since I did a dedicated Beavertown review, and that was the Gamma Ray that was still in a bottle. And you know, they've done their beers in cans for ages, and I was very surprised when I was prepping for this video. But we're going to have a look at the Holy Cowbell India Stout tonight, which comes in at 5.6%. It's rated at 96 overall on Rate Beer, 94 within the style, and I have actually tried this one before. I had this at the opening night of Brewdog Malmö over in Sweden along with Andreas Tullgren, very nice guy who runs Ulrisan over there, and we both thought this was a pretty damn interesting beer. The only other Beavertown review that I've done was actually a collaboration, a white IPA that they did with Aegir, and that was a very good beer to review as well. So very much looking forward to doing this one for you. I know it's a good beer, and Beavertown obviously are one of the most acclaimed English craft breweries at the moment. So this one should be a good review. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Beavertown reviews. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in beer from a particular country, city or state, you can go into the channel homepage and search it. The whole channel uses a geography based tagging system, and if you do want to see more beer reviews and things on the channel, please give me some recommendations and get in touch with me. Your support and your input to the channel is hugely appreciated. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Beavertown Brewery. So Beavertown Brewery was established in December 2011 by Logan Plant, son of Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin of course, and his friend Byron Knight, and they were based in the kitchen of Duke's Brew and Q in the de Beauvoir district of Hackney in London. And Beavertown of course is the old Cockney name given to this area of London. The brew house was located opposite the Smokers of Barbecue restaurant, and they actually in the early days only ran very small brews of 650 litres. But in March 2013 they moved out of their home at Duke's Brew and Q and into a new facility at Fish Island in London, and since then they've moved once again to a new 11,000 square feet facility in Tottenham Hale, where they also have a tap room which is supposed to be very nice and does a lot of foods and things like that. That's a really popular place for craft beer people to go and check out in London. I need to go down there and have a look at all of these pubs. But since then, of course, Beavertown have become one of probably the most acclaimed English craft brewery, and there's some really good beer in the city of London these days too. I've tried quite a few good beers. There's Weird Beard, there's these guys, there was London Fields for a period as well, and there's probably a lot of other ones that I've not heard of, but these guys do some pretty awesome beers, and I'm looking forward to reviewing this one for you on the channel here. So without further ado, we'll get stuck into this guy then. So as you may have guessed, or as you may know, Beavertown are very well renowned for their artwork, as you can see on this one. And that was the thing that actually caught my eye when I first tried the Gamma Ray, and that was back when it was in bottles, like I said. But you can see they've got this nice kind of almost psychedelic 1970s artwork. This can actually, I can see on the back, this one does go for the Scandinavian exports too. It's got the pant for 1 kroner as well, but 1.9 UK units. It is a 5.6% India Stout. They do say on the website that the India Stout is supposed to be different, an IPA Stout hybrid of course. But on Rate Beer they're listing this one as a black IPA, so it should be quite interesting. I do have the specs for this beer as well before we open it up. 5.6% India Stout is hot with Magnum Summit and Centennial, and has a malt base of pale crystal, low colour chocolate, carafa malts, and also some oats in there as well. So it should be very interesting. I remember it was very good, so we're going to get this guy out and get on with the tasting then. But yeah, I'm really glad that I finally got to return to Beavertown. I had no idea that it had been 2 years since I'd actually done a review from this brewery. I thought that was ridiculous when I checked the channel and saw that that was the case. These guys are pretty damn awesome, and hopefully there's not such a big gap between my next Beavertown review and this one. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice kind of ebony rosewood colour. I'll just check that you're seeing that on the camera here, and I'll put it under the light for you to see. You can see that's a really nice kind of ebony rosewood colour there. Very dark looking beer, almost Coca-Cola coloured. There's a solid finger and a half of a frothy beigey tan head on this one, some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. And just when you're moving this beer about, you can really smell some of the nice kind of juicy fruits coming off this one. So let's have a closer look at the aroma before we get stuck in. So just without sugaring it up, it does actually lean more towards the malty side of things. You've got a nice kind of chocolatey malt in there. You can smell some of the roasted black malts. There's a bit of kind of coffee bean as well. And you can smell there is a bit of sweetness from a kind of toasted brown sugar, I would say. But we'll sugar it up and see what else we get. Yeah, when you sugar it up, you start to get more of the hoppy elements out of this beer. So maybe there's a little bit of a kind of orangey note, I would say. Yeah, there's a little bit of an orangey citrus in there. Some grapefruit as well, but not too much. It really does, this beer for me really does lean more towards the kind of malty side of things on the aroma, even when you do sugar it up. It does smell big and kind of roasted, a little bit of coffee, but you can get some grapefruit, some orangey notes, and there is a bit of spicy floral aromaticity in there as well. I think it's the Summit usually. The Summit and the Magnum can both give you quite a spicy aromaticity. Centennial, of course, gives you a little bit of that grapefruit, and I think the Summit tends to give you a really nice orangey and quite sharp citrus character. And you can smell a little bit of that in here, especially when you sugar it up. But really, it's the malt base that's punching its way out of this beer for me. So yeah, this one, it should be really nice. As I say, I tried this along with Andreas of Ulrezan in Brewdog Malmö in Sweden. So I'll put his link in the description below, and we'll toast to Andreas for this one. So this one is the Holy Cowbell India Stout from Beavertown Brewery in London in England. Cheers to Andreas, or Skål as he would say. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good beer. So I can see what they're saying on the first taste, and having a bit more of an in-depth look at this beer, of course. I can see what they're saying when they say India Stout rather than a black IPA. For me, a black IPA tends to be a bit lighter in the mouthfeel than this. This one is quite heavy, and it does have the creaminess that you expect of a stout beer actually, along with those hoppy characters of the IPA. So that's quite interesting that Brewdog have got, Beavertown rather, have gone down this road with this beer. I had it in my head that I was back in Brewdog Malmö again. But again, very, very solid beer from Beavertown, and you wouldn't expect anything less from these guys. And it does. When you let it settle on the tongue, you feel the stouty character, but when you sugar it around your palate a bit, you can feel the hoppy side of the IPA coming out. But this is nice. So in terms of the malt side of things, in the middle of the palate, you're just getting a blanket with this kind of bready character going right across the middle of the tongue. There's some nice light roasted black malts there. You can get some of the kind of sweeter coffee bean elements from the carafa coming out as you move out towards the edge of the tongue. There is an element of that kind of toasted brown sugar in there as well, and some of the richer kind of chocolatey sweetness as well is very nice. Yeah, that's a really nice beer. I can see why I enjoyed this one when we were at Brewdog. And I have to admit, I do like that creamier mouthfeel that it has. That really helps bring out the nice malty side of things. The black IPAs can be nice, but sometimes they just lack that little bit of sweetness from the malt base, and that's what I like about this, the creaminess and the sweetness, I would say, that's coming out of the malt base. The hops are nicely done as well. They're just nice and juicy. In the back corners of the palate, you're getting a little bit of the earthiness. As you come further forward, there is like a little bit of pine resin, but for me it really is more leaning towards a kind of spicy floral aromaticity. The spicy character actually works well with that kind of coffee bean that you're getting from the carafa malts in this beer. That kind of blend of flavours works really nicely, but as you go round the front curve of the tongue, there's a little bit of dryness from the floral side of things, but it's got a nice kind of juicy grassy character as well, which is nice. And just behind that front curve of the tongue, that's where the fruity elements of this beer are coming out. Yeah, a little bit of nice kind of juicy grapefruit in there. For me, it does lean a bit more towards a kind of orangey citrus though although there is a kind of grapefruit presence there, but it's an orangey flavour. Maybe it's a bit sharper too, so it could be more of a sort of tangerine thing that's going on. Yeah, for me that's definitely an orangey citrus, and like I say, maybe a bit sharper than normal, so it could perhaps be more of a tangerine flavour that's coming out of this one. But it's really nice, and the whole beer blends together well. The orangey tangerine flavours go well with the slightly sweeter malt base that you have in this beer, and the kind of coffee bean carafa goes well with that little bit of spiciness that's in there from the floral aromaticity on this one. This beer, very, very solid. It deserves its rating that it has of 96. This is very easy drinking. You wouldn't ever think that you'd come across a stout beer that is as easy drinking as this one, so make sure you check this out if you get the chance. In terms of the mouthfeel, I'd say definitely a mid-bodied beer. Could well be leaning more towards the full-bodied thing actually, and probably it is fair to say that because of the creaminess the mouthfeel has. It's got a good balance between an oily mouthfeel and a more creamy mouthfeel, and as I say, that creaminess is what separates this from a kind of normal black IPA in my opinion. There's a good little bit of bitterness from the hops, although overall it is quite smooth. The beer just has that kind of smooth, creamy mouthfeel all the way through it. You've got a little bit of bitterness from the malt base, but again, as I say, mainly it's a kind of sweetness. Nice sort of coffee bean flavour. It almost has that smoothness you expect of a coffee stout, but there is a little bit of the roasted black malt in the middle of the tongue. The hops are nice, very smooth again, a little bit of spiciness from the floral character and some nice juicy orange as well, but overall very, very solid beer from Beavertown, and you wouldn't expect anything less. These guys have got their reputation for a reason. I've seen a couple of people saying that many reviewers just kind of suck up to Beavertown and things like that, and I don't know why there's people going on the Facebook groups about that. These guys have got a reputation for a reason, and this beer kind of enforces that for me. I've really enjoyed this one. I've never had a bad beer from Beavertown, and this is one of the more interesting ones I've had from them, I would say. So I'm looking forward to reviewing more of their beers, and hopefully there's not such a big gap between this one and my next Beavertown review. I couldn't believe that it was 2 years since I've done a dedicated Beavertown review. So yeah, the Holy Cowbell India Stout from Beavertown in London in England. This one is a really kind of more unusual beer if you like your black IPAs, but you want something that's just a little bit different from what you'll normally find. This is definitely one you should go for. A lovely kind of creamy mouthfeel on this one, and that's what sets it apart for me from the other black IPAs and things. So yeah, really interesting beer. As always, please let me know your own thoughts on this beer and the brewery in the comments section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer and the brewery in the comments section below, and until the next time, Slangy just now. I will catch you soon, and we'll return to Beavertown fairly soon, I'm sure. Cheers.